The sky over Noria 6 was always calm, blue, quiet, endless. The people on the colony lived in peace. No sirens, no guards. No soldiers walking the streets. Children played in the fields. Farmers grew food under twin suns. Engineers fixed water, systems and solar panels. Life was slow, warm, and peaceful. Lyra, a 12-year-old girl with sharp eyes and quick feet, often climbed the hills outside the colony. She liked to watch the stars during the night and clouds during the day. That morning, as she sat with her sketchbook, she saw something strange. A bright light was falling from the sky dot. It wasn't like a meteor. It didn't burn. It didn't break apart. It glowed steady and cold. It moved too slowly to be a rock and too smoothly to be space junk. Lyra stood up, confused. She ran back to the colony, clutching her notebook tight. Something was wrong. She could feel it in her chest. Like a quiet storm waiting to roar. In the governor's dome, the colony leader, Governor Malin, was reading the daily farming reports. Nothing unusual. Crop levels stable. Water clean. Power systems running at 92%. All good. Then the power blinked. Not much. Just a flicker. But on Noria 6, power systems were built to never fail. A second later, a loud, strange tone filled the room. A message appeared on the main screen. Prepare for extinction. Malin's hands froze on the console. The voice was metallic, deep, and full of hate. The words repeated once, and the screen returned to normal. Before he could speak, a sensor alert flashed red. He opened the outer camera feed, and his blood turned cold. Massive alien fleet had entered orbit. Dozens of ships, black, spiked, and shaped like claws. No symbols, no flags. But Malin recognized them from history files. His face went pale. The Gravax Dominion. Everyone knew the stories. The Gravax wiped out weak colonies. They saw peace as weakness. No army, no defense. That meant easy prey. Noria 6 was exactly what they loved to destroy. There were no warships, no weapons, no soldiers trained for space combat. Earth Command had written the colony off long ago, called it useless. They sent no protection, no shields, only farmers, builders, dreamers. And now they had 7 minutes before the Gravax reached the ground. Panic spread like fire. Parents grabbed their children. Engineers locked down buildings. Farmers ran toward the shelter domes, though everyone knew they would not help. Lyra found her mother and father in the greenhouse, frozen with fear. Her voice shook. What's going on? Her father whispered, We're being attacked. Her mother held her close. We have no weapons, Lyra. But we do have something, said a voice from behind. It was Yahan, the colony's oldest engineer, a quiet man who rarely spoke, with metal arms from an old accident and deep eyes full of old secrets. He looked at Malin. We have 7 minutes. I can do something. Malin stared. We don't have anything, Yahan. Yahan stepped forward. We have the pulse core. Malin blinked. That's just old tech. It doesn't even work. Yahan shook his head. It works. It always worked. Earth never understood it. They buried it. But I didn't. Everyone stared. The pulse core was part of the old colony core, an energy device found deep underground when the colony was first built. Earth scientists said it was unstable, so they shut it down. But Yahan had studied it in secret. He believed. It wasn't human tech. It was ancient and powerful. If I trigger it, Yahan said slowly, everything in orbit will be erased. But only if the timing is perfect. If I miss it, we die. Malin's voice was low. How much time do you need? Yahan looked up. 7 minutes. The command dome turned into a storm of action. Yahan connected wires with shaking hands. Sparks flew. Systems protested. Old machines woke from decades of silence. The pulse core hummed like a heartbeat. Outside, the Gravax ships began descending. The ground trembled. A black shadow spread over NORI, a -6 dot the children watched from windows. The parents prayed. Everyone waited. Iran closed his eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2. He pressed the final switch. The hills exploded in light. A wave of silent blue energy pulsed into the sky. It moved faster than sound, faster than thought. It hit the first ship, then the second, then all of them. And then silence. No debris. No sound. No Gravax. The sky was clear, clean, as if nothing had ever been there. Iran fell to his knees. His hands smoked. His eyes were wet. Governor Malin stood beside him, stunned. "What did you do?" Iran whispered. "I asked the pulse core to protect." U.S. And it listened. Lyra looked up at the sky, her eyes wide. Noria 6 had no weapons. No army. But in 7 minutes, it became the colony that erased a fleet, and the galaxy would never forget. For a few seconds, everyone on Noria 6 stood still. The message still echoed on the governor's screen. Prepare for extinction. Governor Malin stared at the red warning lights flashing across the control room. Around him, engineers looked confused, some even afraid. Others tried to contact Earth Command, but there was only static. "They've jammed all signals," said Chief Engineer Darrow quietly. "But we have no weapons," whispered one of the young assistants. Malin closed his eyes for a moment, took a deep breath, and said, "Call everyone to the town center. We have 7 minutes." Across Noria 6, alarms began to ring, not war sirens, because they didn't have any but loud emergency bells left over from an old farming fire drill. People dropped tools, ran from fields, left repair sites and homes. Children were pulled by parents. No one knew exactly what was happening, but they could feel it was different. Heavier. Lyra, the young girl who had first seen the strange object falling from the sky, now stood beside her father, a solar technician. She kept looking up. The sky seemed darker now, full of shadows. Full of ships. Huge ships. They were black, cold, and shaped like blades. The Gravax Dominion fleet had arrived, but there was still no attack. Not yet. Governor Malin stood on the steps of the old colony hall, his voice carried by emergency speakers. "People of Noria 6, I won't lie to you. We are under threat. A fleet has entered orbit. We were sent a message. They plan to destroy us." Gasps, silence, and whispers. He raised his hand. "We have no weapons, no army, no help, but we do have something." People looked at him, waiting. "We have knowledge and time, very little time, but maybe just enough." He turned to Chief Engineer Darrow. "Tell them." Darrow stepped up. His voice was calm, but urgent. 10 years ago, we began building energy walls, solar shielding domes, to protect our crops during solar storms. They were never meant to be weapons. But if we reverse the polarity of the emitters and overcharge the power lines with the backup reactors, he looked at Malin, we can create a flash burst, a directional pulse strong enough to blind, or fry anything electronic, including ships. Murmurs filled the crowd. "But we don't have time," someone shouted. "Only 6 minutes now." "Yes," said Darrow. "So we split up." Hundreds of people ran to action. Solar engineers climbed towers, redirected panels. Children ran messages where radios failed. Farmers helped lift heavy batteries and plug in massive power cells. Darrow and a group of older engineers worked furiously, stripping the old solar grid of its safety protocols. Sparks flew. Wires glowed. A panel exploded, burning Darrow's hand, but he kept going. Up above, in the orbit of Noria 6, the Gravax fleet began charging weapons. Their lead ship, the Harvester, focused on the colony's largest population center. Inside the alien ship, a commander laughed. No shields, no guns, not even a signal of resistance. What a joke. 3 minutes to extinction, said another Gravax officer. Back on the surface, Lyra had joined the emergency power team. Her small hands fit into the tight control box. She connected the last cable as her father shouted, "That's it! We're charged." At the colony hub, Darrow looked at the readings. All domes aligned, all energy levels rising. 1 more minute. Governor Malin stood with the manual trigger in hand. He looked at the sky so full of darkness now, as if night had come early. He whispered, "We don't want war. But we won't die quiet." The Gravax commander raised his hand. "Begin firing in 5, 4. "Now!" Malin screamed. Darrow slammed the activation switch. The solar grid let out a scream more like a roar as power surged through the wires. The sky flashed white. Pure, blinding energy shot from every solar dome, blasting upward in a wave of crackling force. From orbit, the Gravax fleet had no time to react. The light pierced their ships like spears. Engines shut down. Weapons failed. Control. Screens turned to static dot then. Fires began. Ships twisted. Some exploded in silence. Others spun, dead and useless, crashing down into the ocean or deep into the mountains. From below, the people of Noria 6 watched as the sky went from black to burning. Lyra's mouth fell open. "We did it?" Darrow sat down, breathing hard. "We did it." Only one Gravax ship escaped barely, and even that one sent no message. Because the last thing their sensors recorded was a colony with no weapons, destroying a war fleet in 7 minutes dot and far across the galaxy. Word spread. Noria 6 was not useless. Earth's colonies were not defenseless. They just fought differently dot, and sometimes thinking was more dangerous than guns. The sky no longer showed stars. It was filled with the dark metal of Gravax warships. The colony was quiet, but it was the silence of fear. She sat by the window of her small room, looking at the black clouds of metal. The Gravax fleet wasn't attacking yet, but they could at any moment. Her mother tried to comfort her. "It will be okay," she whispered, but her voice didn't sound sure. Down below, Governor Ray stood at the control tower with a few engineers and farmers. They were the only people who had stayed calm. Everyone else was hiding in bunkers or in their homes, shaking in fear. The governor's voice was calm, but firm. "No weapons. No army. No help. But we are not helpless," he said. He turned to an old man named Elric, a retired engineer who had worked deep under Noria 6 for decades. "Elric," Ray said, "it's time." Elric nodded slowly. "You're sure?" "Yes, if we don't act now, there will be no tomorrow." Lyra, still peeking through the window, saw them walk toward the old elevator shaft at the edge of the hills. No one had touched that part of the colony in years. It was marked off limits. Everyone thought it was just an abandoned mine. But it wasn't a mine dot. It was a secret that Earth Command had ordered buried. Literally, years ago, Noria 6 had been one of the testing sites for an experimental defense system, a technology Earth Command created and then canceled. They called it Project Silence. It was designed to stop enemy fleets using something known. One understood completely quantum field inversion. The idea was simple. Even if the science wasn't, if you couldn't stop an enemy fleet with weapons, erase the battlefield. The first test worked too well. Everything, ships, air, signals went silent within a zone. Nothing could enter. Nothing could escape. Not even light. The project was shut down. Too dangerous, they said. Too unpredictable. But instead of destroying the last prototype, they buried it under Noria 6. Earth Command labeled the colony as useless to keep others away. Then they erased the files. Only a few people knew the truth. Governor Ray and Elric were two of them. Deep underground, they entered the chamber where the machine rested. It was the size of a small truck, surrounded by dusty control panels and old power cells. The room shook gently as Gravak's cruisers adjusted positions above. Elric brushed his hand along the machine. "It's still alive," he whispered. "We only get one chance," Ray said. They powered it on dot above ground. Lyra felt a strange hum in the air. It made her ears tingle. She looked up. Some of the Gravak ships were moving. Not attacking, just slowly shifting into a new formation. They didn't seem to notice anything. Then the governor's voice echoed across the emergency channel. "To all colonists, remain indoors. A defense protocol is being activated. Do not panic." Lyra grabbed her tablet and hacked into the live feed. She was a tech prodigy, always good at breaking into systems. What she saw made her gasp. A circle was forming in the sky, a perfect sphere around Noria 6. Faint lines of light danced through the air like invisible threads. Being pulled tight. Suddenly silence. Not the normal kind. The ships stopped moving. Engines died. Lights went out. The sky became still. The Gravak's fleet frozen. Lyra whispered, "What's happening?" The answer came from a data stream she wasn't supposed to see. A system readout blinked on her screen. Project Silence Active Zone Containment. Complete external activity. Null reversal countdown. 6:58, 6:57. The machine had given them 7 minutes to act, 7 minutes to decide. Below ground, Elric looked worried. "We can't hold it longer than that. Either we lock them in forever, or we shut it down and risk their return." Governor Ray made his decision. "Lock it." Elric hesitated. "That means the field will stay active forever. The machine will burn out. Nothing will ever get in. Or out. That part of space will be silent," Ray finished, "forever." He pressed the final switch. Above Noria 6, the Gravaks. Fleet flickered, then vanished from view. Not exploded. Not destroyed. Just removed from existence. The black ships were gone. In their place, silence. No wreckage. No lights. No sound. Just empty sky. When the colonists stepped outside, they didn't understand what had happened. The danger was gone, but no one had fired a shot. The governor gave a single statement to the public. "We used no weapons. We fought no war. We simply reminded the galaxy, some places are better left untouched." Lyra stared at the now clear sky, her heart pounding. She knew the truth now. Noria 6 wasn't useless. It was the most dangerous place in the galaxy. And Earth Command had hidden it in plain sight. The Gravak ships moved in close, preparing to launch their final strike. From orbit, the alien commanders laughed. They had wiped out stronger colonies. Before ones with armies and warships. Noria 6 had nothing. No defense grid, no fighters. Just open fields and scattered homes. But something felt wrong. Inside the Gravak's command ship, High Commander Dronuk narrowed his eyes. "Why are they not running?" he growled. "Why no panic? No escape pods? No distress signals?" The answer came too late. Suddenly, the air around the Gravak's fleet changed. A strange signal, silent and invisible, pulsed from the planet below. It was not a weapon, not in the usual way. It didn't explode or burn. Instead, it listened. Back on the surface of Noria 6, Lyra and the others stood calmly near the massive stone pillars that had risen from the ground. These were not alien. They had always been part of the colony, thought to be ancient farming tech, leftovers from Earth's early terraforming projects. But today they awoke. The old engineer, Tovin, stood beside one of the pillars. His hand rested on the glowing surface. "The planet is ready," he whispered above. The signal hit every Gravax ship at once. The ships didn't explode. Instead, their AI systems locked. Guidance failed. Engines froze. Power levels dropped. One by one, the great warships of the Gravax. Dominion began falling softly, as if pulled by invisible hands. High Commander Dromik screamed, slamming his fist into the control panel. "What is this? What are they doing?" One of his officers, eyes wide with terror, stuttered, "They're hijacking us, sir. Our systems. Everything. It's not even hacking. It's like the ships think they are the enemy." And in way they were. Noria 6 didn't have weapons, but it was a weapon. The entire colony had been built on something secret, something not even most settlers knew. Beneath the soil, ancient tech had been buried. Not alien tech, human, created by a division of Earth's Black Ops research centuries ago and forgotten. The system was called Vox, a silent planetary defense that didn't need missiles. It read minds. It studied enemy tech in seconds. And when threatened, it responded by making the enemy destroy itself. Lyra stared up at the sky. Fire trails streaked down, but they weren't meteorites. They were Gravax ships crashing softly into the sea or empty plains. Not a single one hit a populated area. Back in the control room, Governor Marek watched the data screen with disbelief. "How is this possible?" Tovin smiled, calm and certain. "We never needed weapons. The colony was the defense." On the Gravax flagship, all lights went dark. Commander Dromik stood in silence, surrounded by a quiet that was louder than war. "No weapons," he whispered. "No soldiers. Just silence. Death in silence." The remaining Gravax ships tried to pull away, but it was too late. The planet had marked them. Every system that made them strong now made them vulnerable. Even if they escaped, they could never return. Noria 6 had tagged them with a signal that would shut them down wherever they went. In just 7 minutes, the entire fleet had fallen. On the ground, Lyra asked the question everyone was thinking. Why was this never used before? Tovin looked to the sky, eyes heavy with memory. Because it was too dangerous. Earth hid it, buried it. They thought it was a failure. But now, it saved us. Governor Marek stepped outside, staring up at the falling streaks of smoke and ash. "The galaxy will come looking for answers," he said quietly. "Yes," Tovin replied, "and they won't find any." Because to the galaxy, Noria 6 was still useless. Still a colony of farmers and engineers. No army, no defenses. And that was the point. The Gravax never sent another fleet. The galaxy watched and whispered, but no one dared test the useless colony again. Noria 6 returned to its peaceful life. The only difference? Now, when Lyra looked at the sky, she didn't just see stars. She saw a shield, a warning, a promise. And far beneath the soil, the VOX system slept once more, waiting. The sun was setting over the golden fields of NOR IA-6. Lyra stood at the top of the old grain silo, watching the sky. It had been hours since the Gravax fleet first appeared, and yet nothing had happened. No attack, no message, no movement. Just the presence of death hanging silently above their world. Her little brother Kaio sat beside her. "Do you think they're still coming?" She nodded slowly. "They don't leave witnesses." Down below, the people of the colony were strangely calm. There was no panic, no screaming, no rush to hide. Instead, the engineers worked on strange machines near the old storage domes. The farmers carried crates, not food, but glowing power cells taken from their broken equipment. The children were gathered in the center of town, where the elders told stories. No one was running. They were preparing. And in the control center of the colony, the governor stood alone. staring at a blank screen. Then, finally, the screen lit up. It was the Gravex. The alien creature filled the screen with its massive red-scaled face, rows of sharp teeth, a crown of iron on its head. "I am Lord Zirinth of the Gravex Dominion," it said. "You were warned. You did not kneel. Now you will be erased." The governor didn't flinch. "We have no weapons," she said calmly. Zirinth laughed. "Then this will be easy." The screen went black, and just like that, the countdown began. 7 minutes left across the colony. All lights turned red. Lyra ran back to her home, where her father waited in the cellar. He handed her a small silver device. "You remember the signal pattern?" She nodded. "One flash, wait, 3 flashes, then hold for 5 seconds. "Good," he said. "Don't press it until you hear the sound." "What sound?" "You'll know it." He kissed her forehead and looked up at the roof. The silence outside was deep. Heavy. 6 minutes left. The Gravex ships began to move. Slow, large vessels with claws and weapons built to rip entire cities apart. But their scanners saw nothing dangerous. Just farms. Just people walking slowly toward buildings. And in the fields, odd metal structures buried halfway underground, ignored by the Gravex, until they began to glow. 5 minutes left. Inside the colony's storage domes, strange humming sounds began. Engineers spoke quietly, checking wires, watching data scroll past broken screens. "Do you think it will work?" One of them whispered. "No," said the lead engineer. "But we're not dying quiet." 4 minutes left. Lyra stood at the edge of town. She could see the Gravex landing crafts dropping from orbit, large black pods that burned through the atmosphere like angry stars. She held the device tightly. People all around the colony were doing the same. 3 minutes left. The Gravex army landed. Thousands of armored aliens marched forward, weapons glowing, teeth bared. They found no resistance. No guns. No walls. Just doors slowly opening. An old farming robot standing still in the fields. One of the Gravex soldiers laughed. "They send machines to die." But then the machines moved. Not fast, not loud, just moved. They stepped away, revealing something beneath the soil. Long, twisted coils of energy nodes and plates. One Gravex officer noticed. "That's not farming tech." 2 minutes left. The ground trembled. All across Noria 6, the energy systems hidden under farms and homes began to pulse. These weren't weapons Earth had given them. They were built from scrap, from old mining drills, broken survey bots, and systems no one cared about. But they were designed for one thing, disruption. A frequency wave burst out from every hidden coil, covering the colony in invisible shockwaves. Not powerful enough to harm flesh, but deadly to alien systems. Gravex suits began to glitch. Weapons failed. Ships in orbit lost communication. A scream went up from the aliens' metal tearing. Lights flickering. Chaos. 1 minute left. A Gravex fleet above tried to respond, but their controls were dead. Their targeting systems locked up. Engines failed. They began spinning, crashing into each other in orbit. Below, the colony still stood silently. No one shouted. No one fought. They simply waited. Lyra heard it then. A deep, rising hum like thunder trapped under the earth. Her father's voice echoed in her mind. "You'll know the sound." She pressed the device. Across the colony, hundreds of others did the same. 0 minutes from the ground, from beneath fields and rivers and homes, light exploded into the sky. Pure energy. The result of years of secret work by engineers, forgotten scientists, and tinkerers. A shield of sound and heat erupted upward. The Gravex fleet didn't just fall. It shattered. Within seconds. The sky was full of burning metal. One by one, every ship broke apart, falling like fiery rain into the deserts beyond. The invasion was over. Before the first shot was ever fired, Noria 6, a colony with no army, had destroyed a fleet in 7 minutes. With silence, with scrap, and with unbreakable will. But it wasn't over yet. From the wreckage above, one message escaped the fire. It sped across the stars toward Earth, toward the galaxy, a message of warning and revenge. Smoke curled through the air as the dust settled around the wreckage of the Gravax fleet. From orbit, the sky once full of warships now showed only scattered debris, drifting silently like broken memories. Lyra stood near the hill where she had first seen the dark shapes fall from the sky. Her hands trembled, but not from fear. Danger was gone. She was watching the stars again, but this time they were peaceful. The village was full of stunned silence. People stared at each other in disbelief. The Gravax gone. Not a single human casualty. No weapons fired. No military response. The elders gathered in the community hall, their faces pale but steady. Governor Wren paced at the front, holding the old book of colony laws, but for once words failed him. How? He finally whispered. How did we survive? The answer came from an unlikely voice. Lyra. She stepped forward, dirt on her face, still holding the old device she had found in the mines weeks before the attack. It wasn't just luck, she said softly. We didn't fight back with weapons, but something else woke up. Everyone turned to her. Those old tunnels under the mines, she continued. We thought they were just collapsed cave systems. But there were doors, machines, voices. The scientists exchanged nervous glances. One of them, a woman named Dr. Fenn, finally spoke. I think she's right. Before the attack, our sensors picked up strange energy spikes. Ancient tech. Not human. We've been living above it for years and didn't even know. Wren frowned. You mean something alien saved us? Yes, Dr. Fenn replied. But not just alien. Old, very, very old. And smart. It studied the Gravax ships when they arrived. Then it acted. The mechanic Harlan scratched his head. But why would it help us? Because, Lyra said, we never tried to harm. We left it alone. We lived peacefully above it. Maybe. It liked that. They fell into silence again. The Gravax had sent one of their strongest fleets. In 7 minutes, it was gone. Every ship was shut down, pulled apart, melted from the inside without a single explosion. Some were turned into cubes of solid metal, mid-air. Others simply vanished. The colony had no military, but they had unknowingly lived beside a weapon so advanced. It didn't need violence to win. It only needed thought. We have to tell Earth, Wren said at last. They need to know this. Place is not useless. It's protected. Not by us, but by something far more powerful. No, Lyra said suddenly. We can't. Everyone stared. If Earth Command finds out, she continued, they'll come. They'll bring labs, soldiers, scanners. They'll dig up everything. They'll want to control it. Wren looked conflicted. But we have to report the attack. Say we defended ourselves. Harlan muttered with a grin. Say we used mining equipment to blow them up. A few chuckles followed, nervous and tired. Dr. Fenn nodded slowly. We can tell the truth, but not all of it. Just enough to keep them away. That night, the people of Noria 6 made a quiet decision. They would protect their hidden guardian by staying small, staying silent, and letting the galaxy continue to think they were useless. But they were not useless. They were watched over by a force older than any empire. One by one, they returned to their normal lives. The farms reopened. The engineers fixed broken systems. Children played in the dirt again. And Lyra, she returned to the hill every night, watching the stars, listening. Sometimes she still heard the faint hum beneath her feet. A pulse, a presence, not a machine, not a god, not something else, something waiting, something human enough to protect Dot and far from Noria 6. In the darkest corners of the galaxy, whispers began to spread. A colony with no ships destroyed a fleet. A planet no one cared about became a ghost story. The Gravaks never returned. Others, wiser and more careful, avoided the space around Noria 6 entirely. And in the silence that followed, the people of the colony lived as they always had, simple, quiet, and free. But now they were no longer alone. They never had been.